Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for the opportunity to contribute to the motion and the debate before this House. I want to start off by reading a portion of the State of the Nation address and asking my colleagues in the House whether they heard the President say this and whether they believe that this is the true state of the nation. Mr. Speaker, we inherited an economy that was running a high deficit with increasingly high inflation and interest rates. It was also characterized by rapidly depreciating currency. This unstable macro environment created an unfavorable investment environment for both indigenous and foreign capital. That's why we've called the National Economic Forum as an attempt to forge a consensus for a homegrown fiscal consolidation program. Did you hear the President say this? And is this the true state of the economy? You see, this was not in the State of the Nation address. You have just exposed yourselves. It was not in the State of the Nation address. This was not in the State of the Nation address. This was President John Dramani Mahama in 2013. This was President John Dramani Mahama in 2013, lamenting about the economy he inherited from the former president. You know that former president, Professor John Evans Atamils. You can check Hansard. You can check Hansard. There's a similarity between what the president did in 2013 and what he did here in the Chamber of Parliament in 2025. You know what that similarity is? Lamentations. Mr. Speaker, there's a phenomenon where new heads of state spend a lot of time lambasting, berating, demonizing their predecessors, hoping that they will use it as a basis to galvanize a certain narrative about why they came to power. Why you came to power doesn't matter. You are in power today. Your job is to do what? Is to fix it. Mr. Speaker, when a president during the State of the Nation's address spends his time lamenting like he did in 2013 and like he did here last week Thursday, what he does is that he invites the remnants of the previous administration to also come and to do what? To defend our record. In between the two, the real issues that you campaigned on, the things that the millions of young people who were singing Kwen Kwen are waiting to hear you deliver on, they get lost in the cracks. And I want to spend some time reminding you of the things that you campaigned on and the things that many people were hoping that when the president mounted the podium, he will be explaining how he will be delivering on them. The president campaigned on the cost of living crisis. He campaigned that transport fares were high and were still going high, and that if he's given an opportunity to come to power, he will roll out a program to tackle it. Did anybody hear the president here explain how he was going to tackle the phenomenon of transport fares that are going up? He spent all the time lamenting and trying to blame the heads of state of the past, just like he did in 2013. The president campaigned on high electricity bills and the fact that if he has an opportunity to come to power, he will introduce measures to tackle it. When he mounted the podium on Thursday, the expectation was that he will lay out a program, which program we now in Parliament will spend time debating. Did anybody hear the president explain how he's going to tackle electricity tariffs that keep going up? For many months, when the president was campaigning, he was speaking about high food inflation. When he mounted the podium, I was hoping to hear him outline how his program to deal with high food prices. I didn't hear it. I don't know if colleagues heard the president outline it here so that we could be debating it by now. In fact, in the first 2 months of the president's administration, what he has started doing is to remove some of the pillars that helped hold some parts of the economy together. It's not true that everything that went on in the last 8 years was bad. It's not true that everything that went on was good. There were pluses, there were minuses. What we have to be doing now is building on the pluses, but already the president is dismantling the pluses. Take the gold for oil program, which was introduced as a measure to help bolster our currency. It was introduced to, among other things, help reduce the forex demand that was used in importing fuel for our country. Today, the president's new administration says it's dismantled that plus. We are waiting to hear, or we're hoping to hear in the State of the Nation address, what is replacing it, so that our currency will not soon tank. What we are seeing instead is a reduction or a drawdown of our gross international reserves to support the currency, and instead the gold for oil program has been dismantled. Mr. Speaker, the president traveled the length and breadth of this country talking about unemployment. In fact, he promised the young people of this country that for those who were afraid that if he wins power, he would terminate their appointment, they should fear not. He will keep them. And that for every one of those jobs, records, for every one of those jobs, he will recruit 2 more people. He says, "You better fire and call for the Oma Kaun." Shocking that when the president assumed office, the first thing he did was to terminate them. Thousands of young Ghanaians who have been properly recruited into the public services, terminated. And while the president mounted the podium, we did not hear him outline a program that he's going to use to create or to expand the job creation bracket. Mr. Speaker, another thing that we were hoping to hear the president talk about was the growth of the Ghanaian economy. Yesterday, I heard my brother at Ofoase talking about the fact that yes, there had been growth, but that growth, in his opinion, had not been able to tackle poverty. Growth between 2017 and 2020, when COVID hit, was an average of 7%. Undisputed. President Mahama campaigned on the fact that he's going to do better than 7%. When he mounted the podium, the whole country was expecting that he would outline a program that is going to grow the Ghanaian economy by more than 7%. Did anybody hear him speak about that one? No. The whole address was used for lamentation, blaming the previous administration and listing debts that he had inherited in various places. But if the president wanted to give a balanced account of what he had inherited, I would have imagined that he would have also spoken about the assets that he inherited. The president did not tell us that when he assumed office on the 7th of January, the gold reserves of this country were 30 tons. And that when he was leaving office the last time, it was 8 tons. That is over 22 tons increase in our gold reserve through Baumia's gold purchase program. The same Baumia that Adongo was bastardizing a few minutes ago. If the president wanted to give a balanced account, I was expecting that he would tell us that when he assumed office, he realized that the Ghanaian economy that he left, the economy which, by the way, during his tenure, shrunk by about $10 billion, when he came back, the economy has expanded by about $20 billion. The president did not tell us that. I was expecting that the president, when he mounted the podium, if he wanted to give a balanced account, would tell us that our gross international reserves, which he left at $6.5 billion when he was leaving power, when he came back, the morning of the 8th of January, when he reported to work, he found out that it was about $8.9 billion. This is a balanced account if he wanted to give a balanced account. But no, what he wanted to do was to lament, was to complain, was to blame the previous administration. Mr. Speaker, if indeed our colleagues on the government benches want a reset, the first reset we should be doing is moving away from the politics of the past, where new heads of state spend an inordinate amount of time lambasting, complaining, and blaming the past, and spend very little time putting their programs on the table so that we interrogate and support. When many of your colleagues appeared before the vetting committee and Osahen asked them, were you part of the manifesto committee? Have you seen these provisions that your manifesto has made on this subject? They said no. Deputy Finance. They said no, they haven't seen it. You would have imagined that by now, the programs for governance, you will be laying them here. And those who didn't see it at manifesto time will see it and even contribute their ideas. We've been in government before. Sometimes you can be here and you see a colleague lay a paper, you yourself, you don't even know the details, but you are part of the majority. You would imagine that by now, your economic transformation program, you will bring it here. Your 24-hour economic program, you will bring it here. These are the things that we were hoping the president will be giving details about, so that by now Parliament will be seized with them and will be interrogating them. Today, none of them has come before us. And we are spending all our time lambasting the past, trying to blame the past, complaining about the past. That's why Ghanaians voted for you. You have an opportunity to do what? To fix it. No, we don't need to wait for the budget. We need to have them here and now so that we can have an opportunity, you and us, to work on them. Mr. Speaker, I'll be concluding soon. 3 major things that I want to draw the government bench's attention to. Number 1, stop the propaganda. You have won the election already. You don't need to do more propaganda. The propaganda will not create jobs. It won't put food on the tables of people. It won't put clothes on the backs of people. Rather, bring your governance programs. Till date, we don't have a single definition for the 24-hour economy program. Everybody you talk to has a different definition. Program Bako, definition bebre. Program Bako, definition bebre. Spend time doing less propaganda and more time bringing your governance programs so that Parliament can assist you and work on it. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, political parties, and this goes to all of us generally, while we do our manifestos and make promises, we should spend more time putting out the granular details of our programs so that in times like this, we'll spend less time doing the blame game of the past, blame game of the previous presidents, and more time interrogating the programs that you are going to govern with and assisting you not to even repeat the mistakes that we made. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to contribute to this.